to look. So if there's a paper jam or needs to be tended to have paper loaded supplies, it will always show you on the screen. For example, when I open the front, copier mode, it will show a display flashing what area to look in. The front cover also shows a map of the different locations that you're able to retrieve any pages from. Anything green indicates it's an area to remove paper jams from. And while I have the front open, I also like to cover the toner. So to replace the toner, it will give you a message on the screen when it's time to replace, and to disengage, you just turn counterclockwise and push down on the release. The bottle will then come open. There's a black cap that sits on top. You just remove the cap. There's a nozzle. Just be sure that stays engaged. The toner siphoned out. And it just places by laying down. There's no rhyme or reason of which direction. It just places in. Slide it in, you'll hear a snap. That means it's in position. And then lock it back in. Paper loading, you have the 3 trays. Tray 1 and 2 are adjustable, and 2 low paper. It's 1 ream at a time. If you wanted to do set up for legal or ledger, you can unlock the guides, and these guides will then allow you to move back and forth. When the tray is closed, it will recognize the change if you did change the paper size, and it'll also read the level, which we'll code through right now. Tray 2 is also similar in that fashion. Tray 3 is your large capacity tray. It holds 4 reams of paper, and it only allows the left side to be loaded because it feeds through the right. So here you have a larger capacity, and it allows the machine to load while it's running as well.
So I never have to load that side?
You never have to load that side. The paper will slide over when it's detected that it's out on the right hand side, and it creates a carousel.
And then I can pull it out and it's still printing off of the big load, and I can load that side. Okay.
So you have quite a bit of capacity paper it holds.
And on the toner, when it's empty, we send it back to you guys. Does it come in a box I can send back?
It comes in a box that you can send back, or you can throw it in the blue recycle bin. It does have a recycle triangle.
Oh, okay.
Or
you guys don't refill them or whatever?
No.
Okay.
We just recycle the bottle if you do send it in. Or you can put it in the blue recycle bin or in the trash can. No, I'm not here to judge. It will just go.
We have a recycle.
It breaks down, so.
Okay.
Whatever's more comfortable. The finisher is where the stapling takes place. This comes open in here. Again, anything blue means it's cool to the touch. It's an area that you can check for paper jams. It just lifts and turns the dial. Staples are down at the bottom. There's 5,000 straight staples. When it comes time to refill, you just apply pressure to the 2 green push stickers on either side. When pressed, this piece crowns up and the staples are fed through the back. And they'll be back in position here. Just as so. As the paper travels from the drawers, it's fused on the side. There's a release. When you push up, it allows the side door to come down. That's where you check for any paper jams. Again, anything blue is cool to the touch, and it'll allow you to retrieve the pages. The paper travels through the bridge unit to the finisher, which also comes open by lifting, as so. The paper is fed through the top. It detects what size of paper is coming through with the sensors here at the top. And to lift, it's pull on the release, and you have a dial. That helps you get anything out that might be hung up.
May I say something?
Sure.
We just had this thing serviced. I wanted to record this as I speak. Is if you lift up this, make sure that you don't slam it down. We slammed it down last time, and they had to come and repair it.
Okay.
So just gently put it down and lock it in place. Okay, and if you have trouble with the feeder, it's most likely someone has done that.
So
Okay.
let me go ahead and I'll start with emailing, scanning to email. Here's some handouts here for you. I had to make a few additional copies. The touch panel, when you walk up to it, if it's in sleep mode, you just press the energy button. It's a button with a leaf that will bring it back up. Or lifting the top, or placing your sheets in the top feeder will engage the equipment and also bring it back up to an on setting. Very much like a smartphone, you have the home screen with the different apps or functions, if you will, and there's also listed here on the side on the hard key. So whatever function you want to utilize, you would just touch on the screen. So we'll select scanner. Everyone's email address looks to be programmed in here. So the quick, easy way of scanning is putting your sheets in the top feeder or on the glass, selecting the destination just by touching on the name and pressing start, and then it goes off. There's a few other functions that are available. Say if you want to send the same image to multiple recipients, you would just highlight multiple names, and it'll be sent to their inbox, and it's sent as an attachment. It is a black and white machine. It prints and copies in black and white, but it will scan a color image.
By default, it's black and white, right? If you have a color and you want to scan it in color, you have to go into the settings.
Correct. And it's in a section on your equipment. If you go into scan settings, it'll have the option here to choose auto color. So you have multiple pages, some of them in color, some of them black and white. It'll note the difference. Or you have the black and white option as default or the full color. So you can choose if you want to black and white or color. Also, the size setting is also under scan settings. It's set to automatically detect standard letter, legal, ledger, but if it's something on off size, you would have to go into the scan settings. Here, you can choose to manually put the sets in, or you can override it by choosing a paper size.
Yeah, so the example that I was asking about was, say you have an ID you want to scan, you have to go manually into the settings and sort of play around with that, right?
Yes, and you want to put your image up here in the corner, upper corner. There's an arrow there to indicate that's the starting point. That's where the start, so the scan's going to take place. Then here, of course, you have the lighter and darker. You need to adjust those settings. It's set to scan the first or the front piece of your sheet. If you have a double-sided original and you need to scan the front and the back, you go into your original fee type. It indicates to the equipment it's two-sided, so it knows to read the front and the back of the sheet. So you don't have to make copies or do them separately. You can do it all at one time. Since it is going to an email, there's a few other additional functions that are available. You can add messages to the body of the email by selecting text and going to manual entry. A keypad will appear and allow you to type in a message into the body of the email.
Is there a limit?
There is a
100
limit.
like a text message or a tweet?
It's,
size?
it's 80 characters.
Oh, even smaller than a tweet. Okay.
Very tiny. But your subject line does give you more availability of how much you can go into. So you go to your text entry, and that one gives you 128 characters.
Okay.
And that's what's going to be showing on your subject line. Otherwise, it's shown as a blank subject.
Okay.
Any questions on the scanning piece?
Yes. Okay, so when I scan, because I've scanned already, we scan, we send it to me, and I hit start. How do I know it's done? Because I know it just goes back to this clear screen, but I don't,
No confirmation.
no confirmation. So yeah.
One way to tell, the quickest way, is that the memory will dip down to 99 or 98%, and when it jumps back up to 100, it means the job has been completed. You can also view here on the scanned file status,
And then it was scanned.
and it will give you a status of the person it was sent to, and it was completed.
Oh,
Okay.
perfect.
And what is the memory limit of the scanning?
In regards to how many sheets or
Bytes or whatever, because we get with the old one, we used to have after certain pages, the memory would run out, and if you had a big file, we had to send it in 2 or 3 parts. I wonder how big this memory is.
Well, I've done 50 pages yesterday.
there's no limit
In
by
this
the
one?
machine. The machine doesn't limit how many sheets you have. What may limit you is on how many, the file size of
Right,
your
that's
email.
what I mean.
But of our
how big
server-
is
But
the
that's your
file?
email server.
Oh,
Oh, probably
10 megabytes.
That's probably
10
10
meg-
megabytes is the one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so this, as far as the equipment doesn't limit you, is what your email address might limit you to.
Now on the settings then, if I say scan it in color versus black and white, that's gonna change the size of the
Absolutely.
page that I'm sending, right?
Absolutely. So the default set to black and white, just so the file doesn't get too large, but if you need to, obviously the color will then bump up the size of the file. And another feature that's really nice too is the preview. Obviously, this is not close to anyone's workspace. I imagine you have to walk back and forth. If you choose preview, you can make your selection of destination, preview, press start, and it'll give you a thumbnail view on this panel of what it's going to look like. So it's generating an image.
Oh, okay. That looks nice.
And if it looks good, you can hit send. I'm not sure who I selected, so I'm going to hit cancel send. Don't want to fill someone's box up.
Oh, it's just done.
Okay. So I could have pressed it.
And what
but
is this receipt notice?
receipt notice is if you want to have a notification sent to your email that that person received your outgoing email.
Oh, okay.
So if you're saying something directly to another person from here.
Now I've noticed too, I also scan and they just send it to me. It's just coming from the printer. I'm not sending it from me to me. So it's just going to come from the printer unless they say it's from me.
It's not going to allow you to do that. It's always going to say it's from the printer. The receipt notice is just giving you a notification in your inbox that the person you sent it to received the
Okay, but I have to put me as a sender then to get that
Exactly.
receipt. Okay.
It's also good practice, in my opinion, you can change it, is if you send it from your outgoing box, because there you can make any edits. If you have to track that message, you can do that. Where here, it only keeps it for so long. And a person might also be a bit apprehensive to open something that comes from a Ricoh device or an unknown sender, especially an attachment. Okay. Any other questions on the scanning piece?
You can manually put in anyone else's email address, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And that's in section 6 of your handout. Where if you select manual entry, it has the keypad, and there is where you would type in the email address.
So you can put a Gmail account or whatever.
You could do it another outside, so if you're sending something to me, and
Yeah.
to save time, you can do it here at the panel. So it's ad hoc.
I've noticed when I'm using the scanner part that if I have two separate things I'm going to scan, I scan one thing. At first I have to put in who you're sending it to before it won't scan. And then once you scanned it, my name disappears off of there. And then if I have a second sheet that I'm going to send, that I have to do it again. I have to put my address in there and then scan it again.
Yes.
So-
It's a double-edged sword. The reason the design is set that way is because it's a security reason. Say you're doing a lot of scanning and by chance it takes a minute to clear out the memory. So if you walk away, someone can send some sensitive documentation and have you as a sender. As you saw, you can choose multiple persons. And what would happen occasionally is that you would have those persons select it, press start, and those people are still on the panel engaged, and you send another scan and they will get it. So it's a security.
Yeah. Well, it's good, just so you have to be aware of it.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you see your name disappear after you've sent, that's a good indication that it was sent.
So you can see that's a perfect example of confirming that something was sent, or even looking at the memory of how it dips down and then jumps back up to 100 once it's been completed. Copying. I see that you have the user code. Anybody used copying yet or wants to?
Yeah.
I'm going to use copy.
take one of these sheets and pass it down. And I can have a volunteer that's oh so kind to open up the screen. And it keeps it open for a minute, 60 seconds. So if someone is wanting to utilize the equipment right after you and you don't want the code to be used, you can press the reset button with the clear button at the same time. And that will bring the window back up instantly. Otherwise, if you do walk away after a minute, it will bring that menu back up.
Sure how to log out yesterday.
Yeah, you know, I was this button should just be disappeared.
Yeah, it's a little misleading. The login, log out button is more for the network settings of logging into the actual computer piece of it.
I'm assuming you need this again.
Yeah, thank you. So that's how you would disengage.
Now, is there a limit to a number of copies? Like if we put on all their codes, you can only print 10. Haha. You know.
You can.
Oh, we can. Okay. Not that we do. But
You can do that. That
Not
is
my account.
that can be done, but right now it's tracking everything that's being
Copied.
copied. So
Okay.
it is tracking.
So we can just track it and get a readout of like, oh, so and so's done posting copies.
Exactly. Then you can just give them
And
10.
they're like, you only have 2 students.
Yeah, so that could be done.
Okay.
And just so we can go through the panel a little bit more in depth. The top piece shows the screen. Again, as I mentioned, you have the hard keys, the home button. The yellow button here is the clear button. So if you make selections on the panel and you want to go back to one copy single-sided, you press the yellow reset button, where the stop key will stop the copier from running. Clear will just clear the number of copies requested. It won't change anything in regards to the functions. Just if I hit 100 and I only wanted 10, instead of making all my selections again on the panel, I just hit the clear button and just changes the copy request, the number. Sample copy is really useful if you're doing a large run. Say for example you're doing 50 sets, staple, double-sided, you can make your job selections, hit sample copy, and it'll give you one complete set. So you can see if it looks correct, and there will be a message on the screen. Do you want to complete the remainder of the job? If it looks great, you can hit go ahead, and the other 49 will print out. Or if it doesn't look right, staples upside down, or there just needs to be a change, an adjustment made, you can hit cancel, and you don't have to have a waste of paper or time or effort. And that's the sample copy.
And when you say you hit the cancel, which one would be the appropriate in this reset? If you want to change anything but the number of the copies, then you would be using reset.
Correct, which is a reset button. Simple screen. When pressed, it makes the screen a little bit easier to navigate. It just has the double-sided, it has sort, very standard. To go back to the standard, you just deselect simple screen. So if you walk into the room and you're looking at larger icons but with less features available, you would just revert back to the standard screen.
Maybe we should leave it on simple screen.
which is a choice.
Love the options.
Yeah, it's a choice that you can make, which is fine. Regarding the copy functions, area 1, whatever function you're working in, whether it be scanning, printing, copying, ready will always let you know what the status of the equipment is. If it's out of paper, out of toner, the mismatched paper sizes, it will always give you a message here on the top. We did touch upon the trays. It does show what's in each drawer along with the paper level, so before you make a large run, it shows how you are on the levels. So we could tell tray 1 is empty because it's showing a red arrow. And obviously tray 2 and 3 are filled. The other functions are the 1 to 2. You have your two-sided, one-sided. Any questions regarding two-sided copying? And it shows you starting point, ending point. Collate is referred to as sort on our equipment of Rico. So if you want your sets to be in numerical order, so say you have 10 sheets, you need 3 sets, you would choose sort. And I'll give them to you in sets. stack is a little bit different. Say you have 10 sheets of paper and you need to hand them out at different points and periods of the day. You can do all of number 1 together, all of number 2, all of number 3. So that's what the stack does. Stapling, you have different options of where to place a staple. It has a blue peg showing where the staple placement is going to be. So by touching on the different displays, you can move the selection of the staple. Of course, here on the guide, it's a little bit different than what we have here. Black and white is the standard, but there are some features that are really useful. If you're copying a color picture, if you indicate to the equipment that you have a photo, and what type of photo, it gives you a better output. You have more of a grayscale. So you have glossy photo, printed photo. Pale, P-A-L-E, means your original's really light, like a receipt, bill of lading. It just darkens the markings without darkening the whole entire background. And generation copy, it's a copy, it's been copied over and over, and it cleans it up a bit for you. Any questions so far? There are some menus across the bottom that expand the screen for us. For example, reduce and enlarge. You have the ratios figured for you there, but you can also do a zoom in and zoom out by choosing the plus and minus, or if your exact measurements are known, you can go to manual entry and type in the ratios you're looking for. What other type of copy jobs do you do?
They do multiple stapled 5 sheets, double-sided.
So very straightforward. So most of the common used functions are already here on the screen.
Yes.
Does any book copying take place?
Yes.
Once in a while, yeah.
Okay, so say you have a book you want to copy and you only want to copy one side of the book. If you have, just for sample's sake, you just want to copy what's on the left-hand side, you can do that by just choosing 8.5 by 11 paper size, pressing start. It'll only copy one side of the page. It's not going to copy the whole piece.
It copies the left side.
Correct.
Okay.
So it only copied one of the pages I had there.
Okay.
Where if you have, say, for example, a large book and you want to copy both sides, you could do a reduce and enlarge, and then it'll resize it for you. Or there's other functions here under duplex combine that gives us the option to do a book copy. Here you have single-sided. You could choose
To
Cop-
2 pages.
the 2 pages. And it'll copy them full size for you. What other type of copy jobs do you folks do? Does anyone print to this device?
No.
Not yet.
Is
Not
it,
yet.
is it set it?
Well, there's some configurations, and most of the permanent are Mac
Oh.
computers, so there's a little driver issue, I think,
Okay.
about that.
And then we did have a question about the USB. Some of them will have USB
Yeah,
files.
USB
So
Thank you.
Yeah, how's
We-
that?
How
And
does
the
that work?
memory card is there too.
Yes. Well, my question to you is that if you're tracking how many prints and copies were made, it won't track the USB.
But
But it will-
but how the say I
it
have
won't track the initial, or it won't track like the 100 copies they print from a USB.
It won't print the 100 copies made from a USB.
it won't, okay.
Will that be a problem?
It won't print.
No, it's not a problem. No, it won't track it.
It won't track it.
Yeah, it's not a problem. We just want to
here,
know.
If you input this one,
Okay. I'll
Yeah.
have you do it.
I brought mine.
Go ahead and insert the USB drive.
Probably it's going to show up somewhere like any computer.
Just so for the video purpose, you just plug it in. It'll engage and it'll show a light lit. It can also read the SD card.
yeah.
And when printing from a device, you go to the printer, or you can press the printer on the screen.
Is it hooked up to computer too?
Here, you would then go to print from memory device.
Oh, okay.
It will show the device. You highlight it.
Yeah.
It'll give you all the files that are on that memory. So it's reading it.
Yeah.
And you could choose your file.
Justice League.
Sorry.
Tech Memi PDF. Oh, you made it a JPEG?
And then if you want it, you can change the size, the number,
If you go into the printing settings,
or you go back to do whatever you want. Oh, you have to use
You have to
user
use your
code.
Oh, use my code?
Yeah,
let's see, it looks like it was locked out. Did the codes create it, were they created for the printer too?
I did it, so I have to look at it.
Okay, go ahead and enter your,
Oh. Printing something.
let's see if it's,
Oh, but now I know how to do it. But it's just
is that it?
So small.
it's kind of small, but yeah, it is it.
Maybe the setting was at 65% or whatever it was.
Yeah.
What does that do? Oh, that one just prints it. That one does track it, so it can track it
Yeah.
if they put the
If you
code.
had the printer,
But
that's why I
it's-
wasn't sure if you had the printer tracking.
It seems that they you can bypass it. That's your PDF version.
Yeah.
And when you choose a file, if you want to make any type of settings, you can go to detail settings. You can do your start printing. You can do a preview.
Okay.
Yeah. So
And that one's the wrong one. Just
go back. Here.
there.
You can go up one level. On his head.
That was the one you did, right?
No, no.
Preview.
Yeah. No.
Oh,
It's 4K, so it's some
failed to generate
exit. That
that one.
You've selected two files.
Clear.
Preview.
Let's do the reset.
How do you refill the staples on it? Finish those up that button that I want, you know?
Oh, okay. Okay. And
I'm gonna say it's
Pushing that.
Oh.
Easy, right?
Copiers? Because it has fax.
no, we're not allowed to fax.
And the
Well, that's
document
all right.
server stores documents on the hard drive of the equipment, which does not allow networking, so it's just residing here on.
Yeah, we can't access it from our computer.
Exactly. Is that something that will be used here? So
No.
if people are scanning, I believe that might override it in printing.
So it
What?
keeps some memory of whatever.
They can't access whatever's on the hard drive from their computer.
For the document server until it's
No, we
removed or
don't do
deleted.
that.
They shouldn't do that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's never.
Yeah, the document server has
Really
been
done.
moved away from. It's mostly used like at doctor's offices where they always hand the same form to all the patients and they're filled out. It doesn't vary on vacation forms, but I am going to imagine most all of that type of data is already on your network, on your intranet, so
Yeah. Yeah.
and probably submit it digitally too.
Yeah.
So. So any other questions or concerns?
Just, I should mention something. If you do the stop, let's see, if you stop the copying of many pages, we had one time it came in that all the things had to be emptied out in order to restart it again. So everyone should be kind of aware of how to open up all the ins and outs to get all the paper off of it.
Actually, a good idea. Yeah, what do we do when we get?
Yeah, well, they came a little bit late. You might want to show them again how to
Okay.
clear the paper trays.
The
Doesn't
screen,
give me instruction on the screen for the junk paper?
It does.
it does.
It does.
The more common area is going to be here on the side, and to open it up, let me just step out of the way. There's a release that you push up on, and it has trays that come open if you want to take a look in there. It has blue tabs. Always be careful not to scratch the green cylinder, that's the diffuser, so if you scratch that, it will probably show a nick on every copy.
Don't touch that.
Oh, it's a blue. Oh, green
Green.
is in there.
Yeah,
The blues are.
And green
Yeah.
is inside.
need to check for anything in there. And as the paper travels through the fuser unit, it goes through the bridge to open. You just lift the trays. And it just comes open as so. As well as the finisher. This piece here comes up and opens up too. It does not pull away. It just has the door swing open.
That's good. I
Anything
didn't like
goes.
the pull away.
Yeah. They've done away with that, fortunately.
Once you open this one, can you show me where do you pick up what is here? Where do you put the staples?
The staples are right down at the bottom.
Oh, that one there.
And I pulled the green tab.
Oh,
And the staples are right in here. There's 5,000 straight staples. And when it comes time to refill them, you apply pressure to the push stickers on either side. When the pressure is applied, this top piece will crown up, and the staples are fed through the back,
Okay.
and then push back down. And the tongue goes in. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or anyone else want to see or try?
I just want to mention something again for everyone. We had this problem with this. I'm sorry. Let me pull this up. And someone had slammed it down before and caused something to come loose inside. So don't slam it. Just close it very carefully and set it down until it's locked. If you slam it down, it's not going to work. We'll have to call the guy to come out and fix it again. So, okay. I guess that's it.
All right, thank you.
thank you.